Hey, Ann, can you hear me?
Hey, I can hear you, and I've got well, I made this too high, but Ronnie's here too.
Hey, how's it going?
Good morning, sir.
Hey, good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. Good to see you too.
He's gonna help me see
Oh,
if we
there is
can.
no card in there.
Yeah, the one I put in there wouldn't recognize
Okay.
it. So we're trying to figure out what is happening.
All right, so let's check them out. So, what exactly is it doing?
Okay. Um, just from what I've seen so far, Drew, let me just move this around a little bit. Okay. Let me see. Let me move this down a little bit. Okay. I went through the calibrations on the build plate,
Okay,
and I had the paper, doing the old school stuff like with the old A5s.
yeah,
And I'm doing a BL Touch calibration test right now to see
okay.
if it will print that test print off. One of the things I am noticing on this is that it just seems um, like on this left side right here, I'm having to just to where the build plate and the extruder, where there's just the right height.
hmm
It seems like I'm having to unscrew this left side more and more and more and more and more just to get it to the right length, and not so much on the right side.
So, are you adjusting the BL Touch offset, or are you adjusting the knobs underneath?
The knobs underneath.
Okay, so we can just adjust the offset.
Okay.
So that when you adjust it again, because of the offset, what the offset does is it just makes it to where every single time is going to be the exact distance. So once that's set, you don't have to mess with the knobs hardly at all.
Okay.
So,
All right.
what we'll do then is we'll just kind of look at it and see how it is if it kind of prints this quick
Okay.
little print,
All right. Well, I'm gonna put it on here.
and then
Go
we'll
ahead.
just change that offset. Because probably what we'll need to do is just like raise it up a little bit, and I can kind of walk you guys through how to do that. And have you updated them? Have you guys run an update on any of them?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Now you
'Cause
see
we've
how
got
it's
a couple
doing.
Yeah, it's just not sticking. Yeah,
I don't know. Can you see that?
yeah, it's just not sticking. Yeah, and then when you rub your finger across it, it just knocks loose.
Yeah, it's not. It's not adhering. It's not
Go ahead
adhering.
and stop it. Go ahead and stop it, and we'll just
Okay.
Does it need to be hooked up to Wi-Fi?
Does it need to be hooked up to Wi-Fi?
You don't need to, and if you don't want to.
Okay, no.
But to download the update, you will have to hook it up to Ethernet or Wi-Fi. And we've come out with several updates, and we'll be coming out with updates pretty frequently for it, updating different features and things like being able to upload from your computer and changing the visualizer because it has Cura on it. So you can actually design on a Chromebook and then send your file to the printer and then slice it on the printer using the screen. So those are in the stuff like that.
Can you download the updates on like a flash drive and then do them up that way?
So you can now, but you have to download the update first that allows you to do that. So we didn't have that ready when it launched. It was still a little bit buggy. So you have to connect it to Wi-Fi at least once to download that update. Then you can put it on a USB and plug it in there and do it from USB.
Okay.
You have to download the update that like enables that feature.
Okay.
So I need the password for the Wi-Fi from this map.
Well, yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
let's go ahead and go to the tutorials and then go to the BL Touch on it.
Okay. So
it'll be under menu and then tutorials. Yeah, and then BL Touch. BL Touch calibration.
Okay. Calibrate BL Touch sensor.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. Start. Okay.
So we'll just kind of set that height, and this will reset it for us.
I want to make sure you're able to see that.
Yeah, that's great. That's perfect. All right, so now you can hit next on the screen, and the text just kind of explains it. And then if you want to grab that piece of paper and then put it underneath the nozzle, just like you normally would.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So then now on that screen, let's go ahead and go and move it down like 1 millimeter. Just hit the -1 millimeter there. Now move it down a tiny bit and then try to move the paper. And we're going for the same scratching that we feel like on the A5s or the Ender or anything. So when it moved down a little bit more, and then it'll probably get down far enough and you get stuck.
I'm starting to feel
Cool.
scratching.
So then you can go like smaller increments. So if you want to do, like 0.05 or something like that, you can kind of go down and do smaller increments until you feel it scratching quite a bit and leave it a mark on the paper. Just like you would, on the A5s or any of the other printers that you got. And then if you go too far, then you can use the plus to raise it a little bit. So, Ann, what this is doing is it's setting it so you don't have to adjust the knobs all the time. This robot is just going to always go to that exact height when it prints.
Okay.
So then this is like the initial setup step, and we're trying to make it a little bit more user-friendly. We're much more user-friendly. That's what we're trying to do, because it is kind of confusing to get set up. But then once it's set up, you're ready to rock.
What it is, the computer has saved the settings, so you don't have to do that again.
Exactly. Yeah, it saves it.
What we were missing with the A5s. Yeah.
Yeah, if you unplug it, it saves all those settings on there. So it actually saves it to the board. Still scratching pretty good?
No, it's getting there. That was too much. Okay, down just a hair. Okay.
Okay.
All right. I think we got it now.
Sweet. Okay, so on one of the newer updates, the button isn't cut off, but right now it's cut off at the top right corner. It's yeah. So go ahead and tap that. There you go, and then you can say okay. And then now let's start our print again, and see if that sticks right.
I'm gonna do a test print. I pushed test print.
Yeah, that's fine. You can do that. You can do the test print, or you can go to the local storage and tap a print, and print it on there too.
Now, what's while we're waiting for this, what's the status of like maybe retrofitting some of the A5s with some of this?
So I'm working on that because we're working on like a standalone hub that you can use with any 3D printer. So you could use the operating system when it's complete, which it's super close to being like ready to be able to work with other 3D printers, that you could just like plug it into the front of like another 3D printer, and then you could have Wi-Fi on that 3D printer, a webcam, you can send stuff to it, you can slice stuff on it. Like we're working on that.
So almost like
I would say it's several months away still, but probably in the summer.
So almost like the Octoprint type thing?
It actually runs off Octoprint. Yeah.
Okay.
So Octoprint's actually the back end of it.
Okay, because I think many moons ago, we had talked about Octoprint, like for the A5s, like using that port on the front end of the A5 and being able to connect it to the computer. That way you could just send it directly to the printer, but you needed an intermediary, and that was what Octoprint was.
Yep. Yeah, and so Octoprint is kind of clunky, and it has a lot of features, but it's kind of hard to understand. So we're trying to make it easier to understand with this user interface, so then you can use Octoprint.
Hey, something else that.
Go ahead and hit next because it might not be heating up.
It says preheat.
Okay, yeah, hit next. There you go.
Okay. Just as a side note.
Yeah, you missing a screw there?
Yes. Well, the screw that came with it was about half of it was stripped out.
Okay.
And so,
like stripped out from the Allen wrench, from the Allen key?
No, from on the thread.
Oh, okay. It's got paint in there, so it's kind of hard to put in there. But you want me to send you a new one? And
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please.
sure. Let me write myself a little note. Make sure I get it in there. So how about the other one then? While this one's heating up, how's the other one doing?
Okay. Well,
Same problem.
it's in the same. It's in the same shape.
Okay.
But well, we have the expert here, so. All right. So I'm gonna try this, but I'm gonna do it under your watchful
Did
eye.
they say that was okay?
Okay.
Yeah, so we can do the same thing. We can reset it.
Yeah.
And get it going. And since it has a Raspberry Pi inside of it, that's what's running everything. So if it ever does anything weird, like it's not responding or something's not working, it turns itself off for safety. So it shuts the printer down and cools everything down if it ever gets an error message or something like that. So if it's ever doing anything strange, just reboot it, turn it off and turn it back on, and then that will reconnect.
Okay. So if it's ever doing anything, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna heat the build right up and that'll work. All right, so we're gonna go to menu, tutorial, calibrate, and start. I'm gonna do that.
See, like, I think that one was making what I call a spaghetti bowl, where it was just loose everywhere, and then this one was just grinding down into
Okay.
Yeah.
So this one was too close.
Yeah, the other one was a little bit far away, and then this one's a little bit too close. So calibration is the toughest part. That's why we wanted to have this with the sensor, because once the sensor's set, you barely have to adjust it at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, next.
The main thing is just making sure that the bed is just flat, and then you're good to go.
Just ahead. Do y'all still sell the A5s?
No, they're discontinued.
Yeah.
Yeah, we lost our supply chain. Yeah, I saw that email from your friend.
Yeah, so he was wanting some small ones and thought, I don't know, ask him.
Yeah, so we want to work on having another one. Like I want a little updated version of the A5, but it's still pretty far down the pipeline to get done. I'm in some kind of development stages of it. I have a Prusa Mini. I got a Prusa Mini that's sweet. It's awesome. It's a cool little printer, and it's in that price range too. And but the lead time on that is probably like 6 weeks or maybe even 10 weeks before you can get one. But if he's looking for a little small printer, like that's one I'd recommend getting that one. If he wants.
Well, I told him, I said, worst
an Ender like you got.
The Ender 3.
Yeah.
I mean, at $150, $200, and it's just a little bit bigger than A5.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and if you're wanting to get something small or something that doesn't have tons of features and just to get one, then yeah, I'd recommend one of those. And I'd recommend the Prusa Mini over the Ender 3 for sure. They're like $500, $550, something like that.
The Prusa Mini?
Prusa Mini, yeah. And it takes a little bit of time to put it together, but once it's together, like, it's awesome.
Okay. All right. Okay. I think that's good.
Sweet.
All right. So
And then
I might as well learn how to use this too.
that's why Ann's got you here.
That's right. I'd be sunk without him for sure.
Got a sidekick.
Literally, because he's right next door.
Nice.
All right. So test print. Okay.
Has the other one heated up and started yet?
It has heated up. It's fixing to start here in just a second. Okay, so let's do a test print and preheat. And once that bed heats up, we can kind of scrape that off. Okay. I mean, I noticed now this looks like a lighter aluminum than ones in times past. You know, the other ones, is it the same material? It's just a different color?
Yeah, it's the same extrusion. It's just not painted.
Oh, okay.
So the other one's like painted black, and this is just the silver.
Okay.
I mean, it is painted. It has like a finish on it, but instead of being finished in black, it's just finished in silver.
Okay. All right. But it's the same stuff because you remember that Ender 2 that I modified, you know, that was the 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 extrusions that I got off eBay, they were black, but I didn't know if because they felt a little heavier than these. These felt more like aluminum.
Yeah. These are aluminum too. So
I didn't know if it was like a denser aluminum they were using, you know, that time I didn't know. So
yeah, so the big thing that this one has that the other ones don't is the onboard slicing. So your students can create something on a Chromebook, and then they can send it through Wi-Fi straight to the printer and slice it and print it on the printer.
but they would have to have access to that printer, wouldn't they?
It would need to be on Wi-Fi or plugged into the wall with Ethernet. Yeah. But it has its own hotspot too. So you could turn on the printer's hotspot, and then students could connect to the hotspot with their Chromebooks. They would just have to connect to it, you know, by clicking on the little Wi-Fi fan and then click on the printer and then and connecting to it that way. So you could do that as well.
Okay, so it's kind of like, so you said it's like a mini hotspot.
Mm-hmm.
And
just like on your phone.
Their Chromebook could pick that up and send it to them.
Yeah. So if you didn't want to connect it to the school network, then you could do that.
Well, is there a way to access the queue, like to show like who's first, second, third, fourth, and all that?
So that's something that it's in a request, so we could work on that. Right now, you just send it to the printer, and it just saves it in the storage, and then you have to manually go and pick it. But it doesn't really have a numbered queue yet.
Okay.
And the thing that with that is you have to like say print finished and say that it's removed before you start the next print anyway. So you need to make sure that it's clear before you hit print again.
Okay.
Because it can't clear off the print bed.
Okay. That'll be an interesting thing to mess with.
Is that other one printing now? Is it going?
I just hit print, so.
Please wait. Okay. We see signs of life.
Oh.
This right here. So we'll see. One of the things that I noticed about the Ender 3, and I've got two of them, and it's happened on both of them. The limit switch on the Z on the backside,
Mm-hmm.
on the backside back here.
The Y?
Yeah, the Y.
Okay.
Some I get those. I keep thinking certain things, but
Yeah,
that Y back there, I noticed that limit switch, and I think I may have told you this before. That limit switch was set too far back, and what the build plate would do, it would go back, and then the extruder would come down in front of the build plate, literally. And so I looked at that and I went, okay.
Yeah.
So I unscrewed it, just moved it up a notch, and so it's only got one screw on that Y limit switch in the back, and it worked fine.
That's perfect. Yeah. And over time, like this could wiggle loose too, and you might have to do that same thing, kind of just dependent on it. And that's one of the things about it being modular, is you can kind of like shift some of that stuff around and wiggle it around as it's printing and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. So let's see.
And this can also print in flexible materials too. So you can print in all flexible TPU and all that kind of stuff as well. And it can print in PETG too, since it's got a heated build plate. So you can print in a bunch more materials than you can on the A5. And even
because like on the A5s, you can do PLA, and then there was another one.
The main one, yeah. A5s are really, really good at printing PLA. Everything else is kind of, man.
Well, there was PLA, and what's the other one?
You can do some upgrades too. You can like replace the nozzle and replace the extruder, and then you can print in some different stuff. But out of the box, the A5's only printed PLA, really.
Okay, that's getting better. What's the other filament? Because I know I've got some of it at the house. It's PLA, and there were like two.
Like
PLA.
there's PLA, there's TPU, which is the flexible, like bendable one. And
Okay.
then there's PETG, PETG. That's like a harder impact resistant material. And there's ABS too.
That's what it is. ABS.
Okay, so ABS is there. So ABS is usually for like injection molding and like making
Are
molds.
you serious?
That's the
ABS
type of
is for
material that it
injection molding?
Yeah. So that's what it's used for. So when 3D printing first started, then they used ABS because that was already a liquefied plastic. But it's not really the best for 3D printing because it shrinks a little bit when it cools. So it pops up from the build plate really easily. And this one can print in ABS, but you need to put down like a glass build plate or something to get up to those type of temperatures. So like you can, but I don't really like printing in ABS because it smells too, so it's toxic. It has like toxic fumes. So I don't really like it for education at all because it stinks and it's bad for you. You have to have it like well ventilated. And then it's kind of hard to print in. So sometimes the layers don't adhere correctly together. It has to, it's really picky. So it likes to have like kind of an enclosed chamber and a heated build plate that's like, that so it can cool at a consistent rate. And if it doesn't, it will like peel up and crack and it can cause some problems. It's just hard.
So I need to,
You know, it's a little stronger. I'm not a huge fan.
I need to liquidate my ABS then.
You can print it on the race though, on your N1. You can print it on that because it's enclosed and it would print it.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
You'll have some of those same problems, but
I don't need more problems. So the one that's the flexible material is the TPEG.
TPU, yeah.
Or the TPU. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's like this.
Yeah, but it says TPEG, TPU.
Yeah.
TPU.
Thermoplastic here.
We have a problem.
What's up? What's the problem?
It
did not lose a little bit. All right, we'll get it a tiny bit closer then.
All right, it printed, but it didn't stick. I mean, it didn't
stick. Yep.
It didn't stay on there. So we're gonna have to calibrate it again, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're just getting a tiny bit closer than what we were before. So a little bit more resistance on the paper than the first time.
Okay.
And then try it again. So another thing about this that I really like is like any feedback that you guys have can actually be changed in the operating system because the hardware is all there. So if you have any ideas, if you or Ann have any ideas of what would make it easier to use or a cool feature, you can let me know and I can put that in the queue to get it actually changed and updated so your printer can actually start doing that. So like currently what I'm working on is this whole process is going to have like pictures show up on the screen and stuff like that.
Okay.
Is it this big? How does it look? And to really just make this whole process a lot easier. So it can be kind of tricky when you get started.
You want to let's see, recalibrate. So I went back to calibrate.
Yep, calibrate BL Touch. Yep.
All right. All right.
And then is there no filament? There's not any filament or anything stuck on the bottom of the nozzle or anything, is there?
No, but I do need to. All right, let's see.
So just get it a little bit more resistance on the paper than you did before. Probably only like another like, like 50 microns closer, like really close. Which would be like 0.05. It's probably super close. Because we're dealing in like millimeters and tenths of millimeters. Can matter a lot.
Okay, that's getting better.
It can be quite a bit of scratching, like it's dragging a lot. Do you notice that these are quieter too, Ron? Did you notice that?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so we have quiet trinamic steppers too, so you can have a whole bunch of them and it'd be real quiet.
Now, what causes it to be quiet?
It has special stepper drivers that enable the motors to run in silent mode.
All right, we got some scratching.
All right, awesome. Is it scratching quite a bit? A little bit more than before?
Yeah, it's way better now.
Okay, sweet. Then yeah, let's go ahead and say complete.
That's looking.
Hey, it's stuck.
Yep.
You rub your finger on it, does it pop off?
Does it come off?
When you just rub across it. If you pick at it, then that's okay. But if you just rub across it.
Yeah, if I rub on it, it's not coming up. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. So you can lift this plate, you can lift this up like this and then just kind of like bend it a bit and it'll pop.
Let's lift this up.
Okay.
There you go. That one's calibrated.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, you can put something else on that one if you want.
Let's make another go at this one right here.
Okay, cool.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah, so print whatever you want, Ann.
Okay. Well, let's see here. We're gonna go.
Okay.
Here. What do I got out of here? My fingers are too.
And I need a T-shirt.
Oh yeah. So I've got do you want a hat, Ron? Do you wear hats? Do you wear hats?
Sometimes. What kind of hat?
I got maker made hats.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, you want a hat? Ann,
Yes,
you want a
sir.
hat?
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Yeah, I'll send you all one.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you bet. I've got some old like NWA3D t-shirts buried somewhere, but someday when we can do an event again, I'm gonna bring them and give them away.
Yeah. But it's one of the things now. If I understand these correctly, they're pretty much like the A5s, the Creality in that, like the extruder's the same.
Yes. So the parts are similar. So then you can swap them out and fix them and repair them and stuff like that. So like
it's interchangeable like the A5s.
Exactly. Yeah. So the hot end right here, it has really similar parts because a lot of 3D printers use similar parts, so you can swap them out. And they actually have plugs and connectors. So if like a fan goes out or something like that, or you need to swap a thermistor or something along those lines, it's really easy to fix. It's got its own plug. So you don't have to like rewire, you know how, I mean, I think a thermistor went out one time in your A5 and you had to like, remember how you had to take the whole thing apart, plug it back in?
Right. Yeah, I've had to, well, I had to, you had to peel the heat tape back and take your Allen wrench and unscrew that and then pull that out to, I mean.
Yeah, feed it back through the mesh and all. Yeah, you don't have to do any of that anymore. So now you just undo that tape and then you just unplug the connector and then plug in your new one. So we wanted it to be really modular so you could work on and repair your printer really easy.
Okay. When you get the chance, send me a price list on parts because because if I have to.
So I don't really have a price list, but if for like $100, I'll send you tons of stuff.
Okay, I can do that.
I'll just load you up with like hot ends and fans and like I can send you an extra board. I'll send you all kinds of stuff for like $100.
Okay. Email me the same mailing address.
Yeah, you can email me either one. Yeah, it's technically my email address now is that I check more often is Drew@MakerMade, but you send it to that, so it's fine. Yeah, either one. I'll send you a quote if you want. You want me to?
Yes. Send me something that a mailing address that I can send that to. and everything.
Yeah.
Because one of the things I like about these, and when my raise goes out, I won't buy another one. It'll be a Creality or probably one of these because I can work on these.
Yeah, the raise is a little bit more difficult to work on. For sure.
Well, it's more proprietary, like the N1, the interface. Well, half of it doesn't work, and so I had to plug a mouse up to it because it was going to cost like several hundreds of dollars to replace the board. It's like, I'll plug a mouse in right here and we'll just do the same thing. It's just the touch part of it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, and like we had the same thing happen on our Raise 3D too, and then Raise 3D was like, oh, we discontinued it, and you have to buy the whole thing again, because that was like their first model, and the screens would just kind of go out on them. So yeah,
Right.
I feel your pain. We had this little like wireless USB keyboard mouse thing that we would plug into it that we would control it with. I mean, it still worked great, but the touchscreen didn't work, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
That app though, does it work with the app? So you can start and send stuff to it with the app?
Oh, no, I haven't even tried the app.
You could try the app because we would control it with that sometimes too. So if you connect it to your network, if your school will let you do that, then you can use the Raise 3D app, and then you can like look at it and check the webcam, and you can send prints to it, and you can do all that stuff with the app, which is pretty cool.
Okay.
Eventually, we're going to have it with this one too.
Well, I just like, I'm sounding like my dad. I want something that I can work on when I need to.
Oh, I feel the same way. I have like an old manual transmission car for the same reason. Like I just like to work on stuff, fix it.
But I just
stubborn, so
I like being able. Well, see, I've even got some spare stuff from that little modification I did on that Ender 2. If I could ever find another Ender 2, I would. It's like you can't find them.
That's why we wanted to get like really common parts, so it's easy to upgrade and work on and fix, and you don't have and you're not trying to find all kinds of proprietary specialized stuff. For sure.
Right, and then, but it like the hardware, like even this stuff, like even I can go on eBay and find it
if you wanted to. Yeah.
You know, like the extrusions and the caps and all that kind of stuff. If I can find it, then I do like that, whatever you're doing on the stepper motors now to make it quieter.
Oh yeah, the trinamic drivers. Yeah, I know that was a big thing that I'm really excited about. Is it's not it doesn't sound like
Well, yeah. My kids, if I have them all going at once, my kids are like, "Can we stop? This is annoying." Is it possible to replace the existing stepper motors on the A5 with these newer ones?
No, because it uses a new board. So it uses an MKS board, a specialized board that allows it to do that. And A5 is older tech, so it doesn't have that.
Okay.
How's it going, Adam?
We're still thinking about it. I did have a question. Is this stuck where it is, or can you lift it up? Because
it will lift up automatically as it prints.
Well, I mean, like this whole thing, if the nozzle gets clogged.
Oh yeah, so you can adjust that in the controls. Then you can tell it to move up if you want, or you can spin these screws when it's off on the back, and then you can lift it up that way too. But you can do that in the controls screen. So when it's not printing, you can go to the controls and move the Z axis up, and then you can get to it.
Okay.
Adam, did you get that package?
Yeah, I got it this morning when I got in. So
awesome.
Okay.
Cool, man. Yeah, so I can help you put on that stepper driver if you want. Help you install.
Okay. All right. Well, Drew, it's good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Ron. And y'all feel like you're printing good on there?
I think so. I think we know what we need to do, so we'll play with it, and then I guess if we need to come back next Thursday.
Hey, yeah, and if you want to do one in between there, these 2 weeks are kind of crazy for me, but I can fit you in somewhere. Well, and we can set up like a Zoom that fits in our schedule somehow. So just let me know.
All right, sounds good.
Thank you, Drew.
All right, thank you so much.
Talk to y'all later. See you.
All right,
yes,
bye.
Sir.
Have a good one. All right, Adam. So
would it be easier for me to take the like the Z axis thing off to flip it over? I mean,
No, you don't need to flip it over. So here, I've got another call at 10, and I'm gonna postpone that right now. So
Okay.
I'm gonna send them an email so I can stay on with you. I'm just letting you know
Appreciate
right now. Because you have time, right? Do you have
Yeah.
time right now? Okay. When is your like prep period over?
I've got until 10:30.
Okay, sweet. So I'll see if I can move this. All right. Yeah. Okay. So that's postponed. Sweet. So with the driver, so you got the spool holder, and then you got and then there's the little stepper driver. Sweet. So what we'll do is you're gonna take off the front right panel. So there's 4 screws in the top, and I can even change my camera here so you can see it better.
Oh, I see. I got you.
So there's these 4 little screws. There we go. Sweet. So turn this on too so you can see better. So there's 4 screws here in this front right panel. There's like 2 kind of in the back. You probably have to move this back a little bit. And then when we lift it off, then we'll get to the board and we can swap it out. It's pretty simple. We just swap out one of these. Just getting to it's kind of difficult.
Oh, that one's not wanting to come out.
They were machined down, so if you have a power screwdriver, that might be.
That's what we're about to grab.
Yeah, it looks like you got a sweet workshop in their classroom there.
Yeah, no, those are new this year, so that's where we've got all of our Lego stuff and
Nice.
all that set up. Sorry, I got to find the drill bits.
Oh, that's fine.
Let's do it this way.
There we go. Sweet.
All right. That's off.
So then it and the printer's turned off, right?
Yes, it's unplugged and everything.
Okay, perfect. So what you'll do is this one right here. This one is the E motor.
Okay.
So you'll just kind of squeeze the edges of it and just pull this one up.
All right.
And then put the new one in the same orientation with like the little screw toward the left, just like the other 3. Because that lines up the grounds.
All right, that is in.
Sweet. And then yeah, you can put the panel back on and yeah, let's do a test print on it. Make sure it's working.
this back on. I think I need to make sure to flip the motors back.
Oh yeah. From the X and the E.
Yeah. And this. Come on. All right.
Sweet. Yeah, let's reboot it and print on it. And then yeah, let's check out the other one too. So what's exactly going on with the other one? I'm sorry you've had so much trouble with these guys.
So it was weird because it was working fine. Like I printed these little trophies and stuff, and then all of a sudden I changed it to do a different size of those. And the touch sensor, it'll start and it gets to the middle and then it just flashes the red on it.
Okay, so I bet I know what happened. So this is something that we are gonna fix with the software to tell you what happened. But probably the bed is a little bit too low. So the sensor's going down and it thinks it's going to hit the bed and then it doesn't read the bed. And then it thinks that it's like grinding into the ground and into the printer. So it shuts itself off for safety reasons.
Right.
So let's go ahead and just on that other one, on these 4 knobs on the bottom, just crank each one like a turn, like clockwise to raise the whole bed up a little bit. Those, you know how those springs expand? So like turn each one about a turn all the way around and then try your print again, the same print. And that will hopefully get it. Because if it's ever like doing its mesh, like it's leveling where it's going around and then it just stops and then just blinks, it won't start. Like you won't be able to print anything until you reboot it because it turned itself off. So it has a Raspberry Pi inside of it that runs. It's basically like the computer that runs everything, and it communicates with the printer control board. And if something goes wrong, it tells the printer control board like turn everything off, disconnect. So if it ever gets a heating error or something like that, just for safety, it shuts itself down. So we're working on having that error come back so it tells you exactly what's wrong with it. But right now you just have to reboot it, and you got to kind of do some manual troubleshooting.
Okay, I'm starting the other one.
Sweet.
Hopefully working. So, and another thing, so I don't know if it was from the snowstorm or whatever, but like the one with the touch sensor, every time I turn it on, it wants me to reset it, like set it up new. Like it's not saving that I've already set it.
Saving the new setting? Weird. Did you set up the Wi-Fi or did you tell it Wi-Fi?
Yeah, and that's
asking you to set it up, huh?
Yeah, so let me try. And I was wondering, like, since it's not necessarily finishing the setup with all the like with it leveling and stuff, I don't know. So
so I think in the first version that we shipped out, if you hit the X and you skipped those things, I think it redid. It said like, hey, make sure that this is. Okay. It would keep it as like a quote unquote new printer for our testing. Okay. For that first one. So if you want to just like run the BL Touch calibration in that initial setup, then I think that will clear it. Okay. And if not, you can run the update and then a newer update on it will fix that too.
Okay, so I'm doing the updates or checking for the update now, and I haven't actually noticed if there's been like if it's actually ever downloaded an update.
So we've had one, and then we have another one coming out this week.
Like I said, it's all up to.
Okay. If it says up to date, then you're good.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got another one coming out this week that is going to enable you to do like USB updates. So you can save it to a USB and put that on there. And then also upload straight from your computer's web browser and print.
Okay.
So that update's coming out this week.
Okay. So now it started off by wanting me to level the printing corners.
Okay. You can skip that one if you want.
All right. Well, so what's happening is I'll hit start. It moves itself, so like it's adjusting.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll go like all the way through that whole that process.
But it'll get to here, and that's when it starts flashing.
Okay. Yeah, so something And then now, like, go ahead and hit like next or hit that X. And then say, yeah, exits. And then go to control. And then do the motors move? When you tap like 10 and then try to move them, do they move?
Nothing. None of the motors move.
Okay, so then yeah, something's getting disconnected somewhere. So let's turn it off and turn it back on.
I've got so much crap over here. I'm trying to find a good spot to.
Yeah. Is the other one heating up to print?
Do I need to do anything special with the old motor or just trash it?
Oh, you can throw that away. Yeah. I don't need it.
All right, so we're coming on.
Does it bring you back to the welcome screen?
Yes.
Okay. So then let's see. Go ahead and go through it, and then when it gets to level the print bed corners, just skip everything.
Okay.
Just go all the way through and skip everything right now.
Okay, so now I'm on the home thing and it's not wanting me to level the printing corners.
Okay, cool. So on the home screen, go to controls and then now try to move the motors and see if they move.
Yes.
Okay. Now go ahead and on the little slider next to PLA, do you see the little nozzle slider? Do you have temperature readings on each one of those? It should say like 15C or something like that on the bottom.
Yeah, it's set in at 21.
Okay, great. So let's move the nozzle one up to like 200 because we're going to test to make sure there's not an error somewhere that it's disconnected in. So if it blinks or something goes weird, it will give you an error. So like probably pretty quick.
I mean, the touch sensor's still blinking. It is warming up.
Okay, good. And then now try to move the motors while it's warming up. So like hit those sides moving.
Yeah.
Okay. Now let's do the bed then. So move the bed temp up.
To like 50. I mean.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So now that's warming. Well. Okay. Now it's starting to warm up.
Okay. And then same thing. Try to move the motors. Make sure the motor's still moving.
Yep.
It's still moving side to side. Okay. Weird. Let's see. Is that one connected to Wi-Fi?
And not at this moment because when I did the welcome, I skipped Wi-Fi.
Well, let's go ahead and go and look at the Wi-Fi. So go to the menu and then settings and then connect it to the Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And then do you have a Mac computer or a Mac phone?
Yeah, I'm on a Mac.
Okay, sweet. So then when we connect it, we're gonna log into a web browser and it'll give us the error code in the web browser. So once it gets connected, let me know and I'll give you that address.
Our Wi-Fi password is super complicated. Hang on. And the other one just started going around doing its thing, so hopefully it'll start.
Sweet.
Okay, so the plastic's coming out of this one.
Okay, good. So it's heating. That's great.
Connecting.
So then once it's connected to Wi-Fi now on your computer, if you're connected to the same network, go ahead and just open a new tab in your web browser and then go to 300x.local.
All right, it's still trying to connect.
Is it just like stuck on the Wi-Fi connection screen?
Yeah. And so I'm doing it on. So I already went to the 300x.local, and so I'm doing it on here to see if.
Okay. Did it load?
Yeah, I loaded up on the welcome screen.
Okay, sweet. So you can just skip through the welcome screen. The first time you do it on a Mac, it does that. So you can just skip through all that. And then go to the motors and then try to move to motors and make sure that it moves the same motors as this one. So we're connected to this one,
Okay, hang on.
hopefully. And if it moves the other one or the other one does something weird while it's printing, then we'll know. Did it move?
I'm still getting through the screens.
Oh, okay.
That's standard. Close that, close that. Okay, no, so when I did that, it's pulling up the other one that's printing.
Oh, it is. It's printing on that one. Okay. So
It does look like the filament is coming out of that, so.
is it? Okay, sweet. So that's another thing that's coming in the update is renaming. So you can have two that are named differently. So they have different IP addresses, but they have the same name in Bonjour. So if that one's printing, if you want to just turn that one off,
Okay.
since we know that one's working,
Okay.
which is awesome. Is it sticking to the build plate?
It looks like it, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
All right, so I told it to stop, I'll just turn it off.
So yeah, if you want to just turn that whole printer off, and then reload your web browser, and then we'll make sure that we connect to this one that we're trying to get to. Hopefully that one will move it.
Now on the screen of this one, it's still sitting on that connecting to the Wi-Fi.
Okay. Hit the back button and then go back to it. I'm suspecting there's something wrong with your operating system.
It's not even letting me hit back on it.
It's just stuck.
Yeah.
Go ahead and reboot it then. Turn it off and turn it back on. So what I might have to do is send you a new SD card to get it going.
All right.
But this one was printing, wasn't it? Like it was working fine?
This was the one that was working. Like I said, I mean, it was doing a good job.
Yeah.
But I changed it to do a different print, and then it started going around doing its thing on the different spots, and then like it got almost done, and then it started flashing, and now every time I try to do anything with it after that point, it just keeps flashing.
Okay.
All right, so it's loading. Okay, so on the printer, it's back on the welcome screen. Do I need to skip all of that, or do you want me to connect it to the Wi-Fi?
You can connect it to the Wi-Fi from there.
Okay.
And now that other one's off, that should help it connect.
All right. Okay. So now it's wanting to check for updates. Do I just need to skip that?
Yeah, you can skip that part.
Yep.
For now.
Next. Standard. Okay. So now let me.
Let's see if it pulls up on the web browser. Hopefully it will.
Okay. Yeah. So it's wanting me to do the get started stuff.
Okay. So you can skip that and then test it and make sure that the motors move on it, that we're connected.
Control.
Is it moving? Yeah. Sweet. Okay, so then now do a colon and then 9,000 after the 300X. So that's going to bring up Octoprint, which is the back end that runs it all.
Okay.
And then it's going to pop up with a whole bunch of weird little pop-up windows the first time you open it. So you can just close all those little windows that pop up. And then it should say connected on the left.
Yeah. Here, let me. We're on the left. Like I see, it says connection, and I see state.
Connected. Should say connected. If you click the little connection, I think it expands, and then you'll see it. It'll have a button that says disconnect if it's connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So that's good. So then now let's try to start your print. And what will happen is this will give us the error code about what happens.
Okay.
So when we go to hit start our print, then this will pop up with some sort of code. And then we can get that code and try to figure out what it is.
So do I need to print it from the computer or from?
You can print it from the printer, and then
Okay.
just stay in that screen and Octoprint, and then it'll pop up with the error.
All right. So I'm just going to start that small rocket one.
Okay, cool. And then if it's like a particular heating error or a calibration error or something like that, it will pop up and give us that.
Okay.
And then we can kind of like diagnose exactly what it is. And thanks for your patience with this too.
Yeah. No, we've had a couple. We've got our old ones up behind me, and I know it's not an easy science. So
Yeah, because you had A31s. You had like the A31s, I think, right?
yeah, we had an A31 and an A5.
Yeah. Have they still been printing?
No, I had to give up on them. The 31, it was never consistent. Like we moved classrooms a couple of years ago, and then after that, we could never get it to do it right consistently. Like it was always either very stringy or it'd get halfway through it, and then it would start making the little bird's nest. The A5 worked okay, but it was still just not. They weren't consistent.
Well, if you want to have your students work with me to get them going, I can help you get them running. Then you can have multiple printers. Just let me know. I'm still supporting all those printers, so we can still. And the parts are really modular. They use a lot of the same parts as these too. So let me know if you want to get them going.
Okay. Maybe once I get a new classroom, because I'm currently in a classroom that's half the size of all the other regular classrooms, and so
it looks pretty big. Really, that's half the size.
Yeah, from compared to the rest of them, and so I've got
pretty big, so
20 computers crammed in here. I've got 10 sets of toolboxes for my Vex robotics. Like I've just got so much stuff. Yeah. It's hard to. I'm squeezing these two in for what it is. All right, it's almost
ready. Is that what those trophies are for? Are you printing them for Vex?
I'm actually printing them for my kids who we're doing the Lego Mindstorm competition.
Yeah.
So it was their idea, so I was like, all right. And so I've got the big ones for first, and then this is second place, and then third place is going to be like 2 centimeters.
Tiny one. That's awesome. Yeah, so I was a first robotics coach for like 6 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I've judged like Vex competitions before. I'm a big fan of robotics. So
this is our first year really into the Vex, and so it's been a learning curve.
You can 3D print all the Vex parts. Did you know that? There's a library. So like you can't use it in like their competitions, but all the parts you can 3D print. So for just doing stuff in your classroom, you can find any of that stuff.
Good to know.
And print them out. Is it almost heated?
Yeah, it's got 1 more degree.
Sweet.
All right, so it says it's heated.
Cool.
It's starting to move around.
So it was like moving to the middle and then it was stopping right away, right?
Yeah, and so.
Did it do it?
Yeah.
What error did it give you? It should have popped up on the right. It should have given you a little thing. Can you screenshot that? Can you do Command Shift 4 and screenshot that?
Yeah.
Sweet. And then can you drop that in the chat here, and then I can I'll see it. Let's see if we can figure out what it is.
Zoom back up. Hang on. Zoom disappeared on me. Hang on. There we go. Chat, and then there we go.
Awesome. Save. Whoop, I put that in the wrong spot, but that's fine. BL Touch error. Yeah, so something's up with your BL Touch. So I wonder, does it look like it's all the way plugged in? Like the little cords on the side?
On the
like, because so you know it has that little plug in the inside. Does it look like it's flat and plugged all the way in to it?
No, let me see it. Let me find something to squeeze it a little more. I mean, it's not flush, but I mean, it looks like it's plugged in.
Okay, if it's straight, yeah, it won't be flush, but it'll be straight plugged in.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the next thing we're gonna do, go ahead and turn it off, and then we're gonna undo. So there's this mesh wire right here.
Yep.
So we're gonna carefully clip the little zip ties. There's 2 little zip ties.
Yep.
So we're gonna clip these little zip ties, but be careful not to clip into the mesh to cut any of the wires. And then we're gonna pull this up so we can see the connections and make sure that the connections are all plugged in all the way.
Okay, there was one that was a little janky, or a couple of them that are a little janky.
Yeah, so make sure that they're plugged in all the way. And the 2 that go from the BL Touch, they're the ones that have, I don't know how good you can see these here. They're these 2. So the one that has like 2 wires and then 3 wires, and make sure that they're plugged all the way in. And then kind of make sure that these are plugged all the way in the back too, and kind of like just kind of push them in and make sure that they're all pushed in all the way.
Okay. All right, it looks like they are, and it looks like all the other ones are too.
Okay, sweet. So go ahead and let's turn it back on.
Do you want me to pull the mesh back down or wait?
You can leave it. Yeah. And then when it boots back up in that weird welcome screen, skip to the BL Touch part. And then do the BL Touch calibration, because that will trigger the same error more than likely. And then if it does, then I'm going to get you a new BL Touch.
Okay.
And if we wanted to be real crazy, we could like take it off the other printer and put it on this one and like switch it back and forth. But I don't think we really need to do that. You know, just to like make sure it's that BL Touch.
All right, so I just hit the calibrate.
Okay.
It's setting itself back to the front corner. It's moving towards the middle. Yeah, and so I mean,
And it did it again.
yeah, it's even. I mean, it's significantly up on the above the.
Yeah. So it's not reading that the probe. I guess we can make sure too. We can check these wires back here. Make sure these are all plugged in all the way and nothing's loose. Because what I'm guessing is something is loose somewhere, and that's what's giving it that error.
Okay, I unplugged that back left, and it got quiet, and then it's back on. It looks
Okay.
like.
Did you reboot it?
I'll do that. So when y'all send out the thing for renaming them, would the new address be just the new name dot local?
Correct. Yeah, it will be. Yeah, and then we're having it to where it'll be the IP address will be displayed too, so you can connect to them separate.
Okay.
As
All
well.
right. Go back to tune,
Yeah,
calibrate.
so we'll do the same thing again and see if it works.
Yeah, it's
Yeah. Okay. So let's flip the whole thing off. So I have a quick and dirty way that we can try to check if it's the sensor or not. So can you turn on the or we'll take this plug, like this back plug here on the side, and kind of you might have to push the printers a little bit closer together. But we're gonna take this plug here and switch them. So plug this plug into your other printer, and then turn them both on once you do that. Once you switch these plugs, then turn them both on.
come on.
And then when you turn them on, does the BL Touch, does it go click, 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 click? Does it stick down a couple times? Or is it not doing that?
I didn't notice it doing it on this one this time. It has in the past.
Yeah, because it should be doing that. So
Get you closer here. All right. All right, so turn them both on.
Yeah.
Okay, the one on the right did. This one did not.
it didn't. Okay. So yeah, whichever one boots up first. Well, actually, we'll just wait till they both get to the same spot. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna kind of do it both at the same time, because we're gonna want to once we know that the trigger it should stick down on the one we're having problems with. They should both stick down, and it should start moving down. And if it starts moving down, then we can flip it off because then we know it's working. So we'll kind of have them set up to where we hit them both at the same time.
All right, so they're both on the home screen.
Okay, so go to the BL. You can go to the BL Touch calibration.
Okay.
And then hit it. And they should both home, and then they should both start moving down, and just be ready to flip them off because since they're not connected to the correct drivers, they might not work right. But the sensors should stick down.
Yep.
Did they?
The one on the right did. This one did not.
Okay, so we narrowed it down. So it is the BL Touch sensor then. So yeah, we can switch that back. We can switch those cords back. And I think that shouldn't have cleared your calibration, but you might have to run the BL Touch calibration again on that other one.
Okay.
Because we just tested this.
Okay, so which one?
So now the one that is being weird. So one more thing that we're going to check now that we switched that cord back and it's off. The last thing that I want you to do before I send you a BL Touch is to look at all of these wires. So if you can cut all the zip ties and then pull the mesh back and inspect the BL Touch wires in particular. So they'll be red, black, and white, and look at them all the way back as far as you can go. And then from this end too, like clip this one from this end and inspect these as well. Like, and just go all the way back and look and make sure nothing's clipped or pinched or anything weird with the wires themselves. And making sure that nothing, got pinched somewhere and one of the wires got disconnected or something like that. Because there's definitely something wrong with either the wiring or the BL Touch. And the wiring in that part. Because the base worked. So we know the wiring inside works properly because it moved that other one.
Yeah, everything looks good from what I can see.
Okay. It must be that BL Touch sensor then. So that must be what it is. So I can, let's see, do I have one? I think I have one right here next to me that I'll get you in the mail. Sometimes they just go out and the sensors just don't work. So if it's, and it's definitely the sensor because we switched that. And if the wires look good, then we should be good to go. So.
Okay. So I wonder then too, if that's why it was giving me problems about getting it leveled or like doing you remember I was saying it was like grinding into it.
Yeah, that was the one that was grinding.
Yeah.
Yeah. That I'm guessing that's something wrong with the BL Touch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you the new wire connection too. So I'm going to send you the BL Touch and the initial wires that come out of the BL Touch just in case.
Okay.
So you'll have like that whole setup. And I'll get that in the mail to you today.
Okay. Okay, awesome. Hopefully that'll get us back on.
Yeah, because it was working, so that's why I'm thinking something wiggled loose or something went wrong with that sensor. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll get you going, man. I'm glad we got one printer going at least. And I'll get that other one to you. It'll probably be there like Monday or Tuesday. And we can Zoom again if you want.
We're on.
Plug it in yourself. I think you can probably figure it out. But
we're on spring break next week, so if you'll hold off until the end of next week, just because there will be no one here to get it.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. I'll send it to you. Yeah. Sorry you had trouble, man, and we'll get you printing.
All right. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You bet. See ya.